to Dreaming. We are very excited to have you today. My name is Angelica. I am with the Circante team. We have Alp that's going to be presenting today. Before we get started, I do just want to go over a few housekeeping items. Yes, of course, these sessions are going to be recorded. They will be available to you 24 hours after Dreaming event ends. So our last day is tomorrow. So they'll be available by Monday for you. And secondly, if you have any questions, we're a little tight for time today. We have about 30 minutes and Alp's got a bunch of great content for us. So if you have any questions, throw them in the Q&A tab. Otherwise, Alp, I will pass things over to you and you can take it from here.
Thank you, Angelica. You can see my screen, Angelica?
Sure can.
Perfect. So thank you to our sponsors. And today I'll be speaking about how to invest properly in ad tech, advertising, incrementality, building out your MarTech stack, thinking what's really causing the sale, and some of the statistics and some case studies behind it, and talk about some execution best practices. So there's a lot of cool things happening in the advertising space. There's over 225 billion spent on Google advertising. There's lots of cool ad tech from Ad Studio, Google Analytics. What is really driving the sale? Did someone click the ad and then they purchased? Does that mean the ad caused the sale, or were they going to buy anyways? How can you see what your true ROI is, so you can invest your marketing dollars better in the right channel, right campaign, the right ad tech to really impact the bottom line? Often in marketing, you need to consider that some people would often buy without advertising or some marketing touch point. And when you run a controlled experiment, the ROI can shrink. So one important thing to consider is incrementality. What is really causing the sale? And number two, the cost accounting. So if you just put the AdWord cost in there, it's going to be a couple dollars, and then it's going to be massive ROI. If you just include AdWord expense plus cost of goods sold, you're leaving out OpEx, you're leaving out the cost of the tech stack. The ROI is going to be inflated. Same if you're purchasing an ad tech tool. If they say buying this ad tech tool will help you save 1,000 hours times $80, and you spend the money and you find only one team's adopting it, it might not hit the desired ROI. So I'll be walking through some examples that talk through to consider incrementality. So you need to focus on what matters and assess the right metrics. So I'm going to get more tactical here and walk through a case study. Say so you have a website, someone sees your product, they see your homepage, they leave, they come back a week later, they see an ad on Google, Facebook, another channel. They click the ad, then they purchase. Was it the ad that caused the sale? What is the counterfactual? So scenario A is what happened. The counterfactual is, what if that ad touch point didn't happen? What if they didn't receive that email from Pardot? What if they didn't receive that direct mail? Would that outcome still have happened? So I'm going to walk through a case study of eBay and how they were spending tens of millions of advertising and how they were able to achieve incrementality. So eBay was running paid search for company name and then product. So company name, eBay shoes. Say I'm shopping for eBay shoes and eBay X, and the ad pops up, I click. And then the person purchases. So that was getting a lot of traffic. So what eBay made a hypothesis, they turned off the paid advertising in some areas, not fully off because they wanted to run a test. And then all the blue line here is paid, which goes down. And as soon as they turn off paid, everybody starts coming directly through organic search and direct navigation. So what started happening is 99% of this traffic started coming for free. So they didn't need to spend money on paid advertising. They can invest it into another source to drive incremental uplift. So the outcome here was the paid advertising was being interacted in with a lot of purchases, but it was not incremental. So the outcome was stop brand keywords and invest that into non-brand keywords because that can all come through organic. eBay is a well-known brand. People know their products. So this example of click does not mean can cause inflated ROI when you're looking at through your marketing touch point. Just because they engage with your marketing touch point there through Pardot, Marketing Cloud, and ad doesn't mean it's incremental. So a lot of money is spent in marketing. You need to identify what's working, what's not working, so you could drive more sales uplift. So a non-branded keyword now. No company name included in the search. Gibson Les Paul is a brand of guitar. Someone wants to buy that. Then an ad pops up from eBay. eBay is notifying the person, hey, we have this guitar. There's Guitar Center. There's many other people. So this is non-brand. Branded means there's company name. Non-branded, no company name. So paid search impact for non-brand. The highest area of impact when someone's searching for a used item, I don't know, you want shoes, a new laptop, something. The highest area of impact was on people that made 0 purchases or less than 3. This is the graph A user frequency. And once you go beyond 3 purchases in the past 12 months, someone might be engaging with the advertising, but it's not positive ROI. So if you do false attribution, you'll be spending money in the wrong places, thinking things are working when you could be spending it elsewhere. And there's the blue line is the confidence interval, 95%. So if we see the highest confidence ROI spot is the 0, and the red dot's the estimate. So what works best in this example? Someone that has not purchased in the last 12 months, bringing them back. As you see, if someone stopped purchasing the past 90 days or past 60 days, they left for some reason. That's the advertising can be a negative. So the best results come, they don't know what your company is, what your company offers. They have 0 historical purchases. It's a first impression. This audience, this segment has higher chance of being profitable than if I'm going to eBay buying 100 times a year. I know all their items, what their company has. I still might be engaging in the advertising, but it's not going to be causing any sales uplift. Glancing if there was any questions. So this graph here says the people that are most likely to engage in advertising are your high volume, high frequency buyers. So high volume, high frequency is most likely to engage. So people purchasing over 50 times a year in eBay or 100 times, if I'm purchasing over 100 times on eBay in the last 12 months, I will engage with paid advertising roughly 22, 23% of the time. If it's 50 to 100, 20% of the time. So a lot of these ad clicks are already coming from people that were already going to buy. They were going to purchase without advertising, without that touch point. And then 0 to 3, people that are probably the people that were the incremental in this case, those they engage less. So you need to get your segmentation right. You need to get your measurement design. You need to work with data science, analytics, and finance to set up the right measurement framework to really tell what is incremental, what is not incremental. And the red bars are paid search buyers, and blue is total buyers. And then when you take the red bar, divided by the blue bar, that's where the green comes out for, and that's why it peaks in the top right, because people purchasing over 100 times a year are just typing eBay shoes, eBay, a non-branded word, clicking there, and they're just advertising is not driving any sales uplift. So you need to be careful. Industry attribution models can often confuse purchases and think they're causal. So your money will not be invested in places that are truly impacting the customer experience or driving sales uplift. And the same comes for ad tech too. You need to think of ad tech when you're purchasing ad tech too or adding to your stack. Is it going to give the ROI? Because advertisers in ad tech, they want your ROI to be high because you'll throw more money then. And another point is I'm not saying Google Ads is bad or advertising is bad. Google Ads is great. Google Analytics is great. Ad Studio is great. Point here is think about incrementality, what's really causing the sell, and be smart about how you spend your money in your budget so you could drive more sales. So a company sees your product page, you retarget them on Facebook, they click the ad, so they don't purchase, they come back a couple days, they click the ad, then they purchase. Did the Facebook ad really cause it? So because I see the click, I have conversion tracking, and now Google Ads or Facebook is saying, hey, this person clicked and bought, and they're putting a dollar amount there. What is the expected profit? So as we talked, I walked you guys through scenario B. No matter what the touch point was, John Doe or Jane Doe buys irrespective. We want to avoid this situation because you say does not get touched by Marketing Cloud or your ad. I mean, does or does not, their end outcome is the same. The goal is scenario A, where the touch point that we do with the customer, it changes their behavior, causes purchase, and gets them to their next step. And it's truly incremental. So scenario A is positive ROI. Scenario B is negative ROI, which was the company name, branded word, targeting people that purchased 100 times in the past year, targeting people that last bought 60 days ago. So that's scenario B. Scenario A, positive. Scenario B is negative and mute. We want to avoid that scenario. So the point is, think about the counterfactual. I'm touching someone with a journey in Marketing Cloud. What would have happened if they didn't get touched by that journey? Would they have still purchased without that email, direct mail, ad? Does economic value apply? Is there incremental profit? Glance at the questions. So two scenarios, A and B. So the best targeting that comes from Marketing Cloud or advertising is it compares two scenarios, A and B, a control and a test, or a control and a treatment. What happens if this scenario happens, and what happens if this scenario doesn't happen? So you're looking at both scenarios, and then you're seeing if economic value applies. And here's a more clear example. So say I launch, I have Pardot or Salesforce Marketing Cloud. I want to launch a campaign, which is spend and save. Spend $1,000, get 10% off. Control, I keep everything the same. I work with my data science and analytics team. And then I have my offer. I send the offer via email. My e-commerce tool, which only shows to that group, pop up in other ways. So I have a control and a treatment, or treatment is also referred to as test. And there at the very end of the test period, I'll have a pre and a post period, and I'll be able to see the difference in purchases by having a control and a test. And I'm able to observe scenario A, scenario B, when the customer is targeted and a similar customer that was not targeted, what's the difference in sales? Then I could tell if it's incremental and if economic value applies. Glancing at the questions. Common mistakes people make when building out their MarTech stack is, working on the wrong things that may not drive business value, not true revenue uplift. Signing 1-2 contracts, hoping they'll solve everything, and then they're stuck in the 2-year, 3-year contract, and then you're kind of forced to implement. So you need to be deliberate and thoughtful of what technologies you add. Next is getting the roadmap correct. I mean, you could use a do it yourself or get a service vendor, but you need to see what's my current state, future state, how am I going to get from current to future, what are my gaps, what are my opportunities, and build out a roadmap and have cross-functional alignment with IT and engineering, and have the quick wins and the long term. Execution is important. Driving the change and having the right measurement design. And the right measurement design isn't, hey, just let's go buy this analytics tool. But I think it's really aligning with finance, data science, analytics. How can we measure certain campaigns to see if they're doing true incremental uplift? You prove the value, and then you get more money, and you're launching things and driving touch points that truly affect the customer experience. So the tech strategy needs to be driven internally, not by a software vendor. They shouldn't be telling you, hey, we have 20 products, you have 3, add 2 more, you're going to be successful. You need to be thinking internally what tools are really best for you. And ideally, maybe not even a service vendor, unless you hired that service vendor to do an assessment, blueprint, and roadmap. The tech strategy should be driven internally, because what happens is you're one of these large vendors. You'll have 5 of their products. Let's say product 1 to 5. The sales rep can't expand on accounts, but he can sell you more products. So, and then the more products you add, you're stuck in these long contracts, and then they become more difficult to implement, and then it becomes a sunk cost, and it takes away your energy. Then you realize you're not getting the true value. So the tech strategy needs to be internal driven, not by a vendor. You need to align on your company's North Star. Make sure you have the right measurement design, so you can understand what's really driving true sales uplift. And that comes from working with finance, data science, understanding the statistics, the economics behind the campaigns, and really testing and learning the right way. Often I come to a company and they think the grass is greener on the other side of the fence. That may be true sometimes when there's a lot of tech debt, but switching from one vendor to another, I mean, it creates a lot of optimism. But you need to think, what's the problem statement? If it's really, I'm trying to drive pipeline, or I'm trying to drive sales or revenue, switching from A to B of one email marketing tool might not drive that sales uplift. So you need to make sure you have the right operating model, right strategy, right campaigns, right creative, targeting the right people. So sometimes it's best to make the most of your current state, build your internal team of experts. Switching technologies might not unlock value always. So I would decide that internally, or consult with a service vendor. Another thing that's helpful is speaking to a vendor once every 3 months. I know I'm kind of going a little bit against what I'm saying, or a service. This helps you stay up to date and just learn, even if you don't have no plans of purchasing. Speaking to that service vendor, speaking to that software vendor can keep you up to date on best practices and what's happening. So I would maybe have those conversations when you're at a conference, or once a quarter, to learn of new things that are coming across the MarTech industry. When you're adding new technologies, it often seems very simple in the demo. And some technologies are really simple, like Pardot, but some technologies can require extra headcount. Implementation doesn't become easy. You can't just buy the technology, hire the professional service, and then things will go on. So you need to think of what's the true cost of operating expenses, corporate expenses, and the software license to really get this running. Because once you're doing that, it's taking away from your time from doing other value add stuff. So build versus buy is important. What I found in the industry is there's some things you can buy, but there's some things that just don't exist and don't fit your business needs. So you might have Salesforce Marketing Cloud, you might need to build something custom on top of it, or you might need to build something, custom completely. So you need to have that alignment across IT and engineering, long term, short term, to get the build strategy that aligns to the buy strategy, because you'll find some things can't be purchased, but you don't want to do things too custom. So you need to have a build versus buy strategy for your MarTech. Next, you need to have the right operating model: strategic, operational, and tactical. Of internally, how are you prioritizing value? That's just one example of driving incrementality, driving sales uplift. Second is, what's the operating model for the tech stack, global versus regional. You need to have the right operating model to drive adoption in the technology stack, extract value, and launch the right use cases. So each company, it's going to be different, the build versus buy and the operating model, but they're important things to think about and align at a VP level, director level, and a hands-on level, where you have the right governance and plan. And operating model also might mean centralized or decentralized for the tech stack. And how do we purchase new technologies? Can I sign a 3-year contract of some analytics tool and then resign in 2 weeks, and then everyone else has to implement it? So what's our operating model for purchasing new technologies that's not bureaucratic, that enables people to do their jobs and complements the entire tech stack comprehensively? So I'm talking about the email channel. Marketing Cloud, great tool. Pardot, great tool. PFL, great tool. Some of this common sense. I think many people are advanced here. The tools are only good as the data, the strategy, the people, the campaigns, the audience and data you put into them. One thing about email is, you could automate, build a life cycle, but email might not be the right channel for some people. Because one, you just can't reach them, even if they're subscribed. They're getting too many emails. They have Gmail. So for some people, email might not be the best channel. You might have to get them via direct mail. You might have to get them, which is PFL. You might have to get them via SMS. So for some buyers, there will be no digital channels that work for them. I might be a CXO at a company and I've fully, walled myself off. It might have to be through a sales rep, targeted event, friend or referral. So you need to think of the right channel expansion strategy when building out your MarTech stack. Automation is going to be important, and building out that onboarding, the lifecycle nurture. But there needs to be cross-channel alignment. As I kind of discussed, Google Ads is a great tool. How do I get email, ads, sales, events, all working in a consistent, strong customer experience to really push buyers to the next step in their journey, and along with the website. So channel activation, getting it right, automating it, scaling out, putting all the right inputs, getting the right channel expansion, PFL and other type tools, adding that to your tech stack, where you could send someone a wine bottle. Email's a pretty straightforward channel. For marketing stack, to really deliver the right customer experience, you need to think about the end-to-end architecture, which is your current tech stack, the data, the campaigns, integrations, where you're planning on maturing it. And that end-to-end architecture will define how customers see your customer experience. So to deliver a consistent and personalized experience, you need to get the right end-to-end architecture across IT, engineering, the marketing teams, and then you can evolve the personalization. So end-to-end architecture, end-to-end data, getting the right wiring is very important. Reducing time to do things. whether that's I have a campaign, the measurement design, how I work with finance, how I launch the campaigns, reducing campaign production time, and accelerating the learning, getting that down to a quicker state can help drive faster efficiency. So there's less headcount that has to be added. And then another thing is reducing checkbox work. So avoiding technical debt. So you hire a service agency. You want to reduce checkbox work because the person is giving you what you want, but missing some few important things, and that will cause your tech stack to languish in the long term once the vendor leaves. Summary. Investing money in the right places that drive the right sales uplift is very important. Incrementality is important. To do this, you need to partner properly with data science, analytics, the finance team. It's just not, hey, let's go purchase one analytics tool and then set up a dashboard. Really, truly thinking about the counterfactual. Like, what's the counterfactual? What would have happened if that touch point didn't happen? What's the A? What's the B? Looking at that through like control and test. And then you could really invest money in the right places versus doing a false correlation, which will, turbocharge your ROI in a wrong way. So you'll put money there thinking it's the right place, but it's not. So, and that goes for adding your MarTech stack too. You need to invest money in the right places because then you're on the hook. And then you need to think about when we're purchasing a tool, the numbers that they're saying. Hey, you buy this, you're spending $5 million a year. You pay me $100,000, I'll help you save $500K. Are the numbers really true that the vendor's saying? And is the demo really gonna? Is the tool really as easy as demo? Number two, you need to build out a flexible platform that can adapt to market changes, strategy changes with strong end-to-end architecture and data. So having the right operating model, right alignment, right people, having that flexible platform that can do the channel activation, cross-channel orchestration, and drive the measurement, learn, and get the right campaigns out the door. That's very important. The MarTech strategy needs to be internally led. If you're working off of vendors' recommendations, hey, you have one of my tools, you add these other two tools, you're probably going to end up signing some 2-3-year contracts that you might purchase a tool, end up shutting it down or not getting value. So, or you use a service agency and then they can do a blueprint for you. But ideally, it needs to be internally led, the tech stack strategy of, hey, I have Pardot, I have Marketing Cloud, I have Ad Studio, I want to add these things. You should be driving that internally. There needs to be a roadmap that delivers on time to value. And by having that the roadmap that delivers on time to value, you have the right technology, integrations, campaigns, data, analytics, and measurement that's delivering value every quarter, every month, and has a long-range plan where you're working on the right things that impact the customers the most. So my name's Alp Mimaroglu. Happy to do some one-on-ones. If you want to bounce ideas off, connect with me on LinkedIn or email. Happy to grab a 15-minute call. And it was great seeing everybody. We're almost at time, but yeah, happy to have a conversation and talk about your specific use case. And yeah, always great to meet people. And yeah, happy to shoot me if you have any questions. Shoot me an email. We could jump on a call or set up some time. And if you think of something down the line, happy to jump on a call too. It's great meeting everybody, and thank you for joining. And thank you, Marjorie, me, and Angelica. Angelica, anything you want to say before your time?
Oh, we're about to end here. Everybody enjoy the rest of your day.